everybody. Welcome to Backstage. This is the Advanced Podcast, and today joining me is the newly unavailable Lindsay Bostancic.
Lindsay Bostancic, that's the first.
Yeah, fresh off the wedding.
Yes.
Well, how was your wedding? How was your honeymoon? How was all that fun stuff?
It was a lot of fun. One casualty, a flower did catch on fire as a centerpiece.
Ooh.
So photographer came in clutch, took it out. It was fine, but that was the only casualty of the event.
Oh, man. Well, that's going to make for a good story.
Absolutely.
In a few years.
Absolutely.
So right now, we're going to hop in the time machine and go back a few years for you because, as they say, hindsight is 20/20.
Absolutely.
So as you're thinking back to your childhood, your teenage years, what were some of the poor decisions that you made growing up?
Well, I was a child that was grounded almost all of 7th grade. Like, I kind of claim that name to fame.
Is it one long grounding?
No,
or just
it was like multiple things. To start off, I got a cell phone when I was in 6th grade. So 6th grade, got a phone. My parents were divorced, so I needed a way to contact my grandparents, whoever. Emergency only, obviously. So get my phone, and that was a thing that got taken away. No matter what.
Right.
No matter what. So 7th grade year, I decide, me and my friend Brooke, we are no longer having to go to the YMCA after school. We get to come home by ourselves via the bus.
Okay.
Big deal.
Yeah.
So we earned our privileges. We stayed. We kept going on the bus, going to each other's houses. It was awesome. We called our parents when we got home. They knew we got home. Well, one day we decided, let's walk home from school.
As opposed to taking the bus. Okay.
Brooke said, hey.
How far did you live?
So we went to Carmel Middle School. So, and then we decided to walk all the way to Beverly Woods East, which is by the Harris YMCA. It's still like a 10-minute drive. Like if you're driving from the Harris Y to Carmel Middle School, it's like 10 minutes.
It's like 4 or 5 miles, right?
Yes, and we decided we wanted to walk this.
That's a long walk.
It's a long walk. And, kids do it all the time at Carmel because it's a neighborhood school, so kids walked home to their neighborhood inside where the school was.
Right,
they would
like
walk
right there.
Right there. We're like, yes, the cool kids walk home. We're walking home. So the day before, I tell my dad, hey, we're going to walk home from school. Didn't want to lie about it. And he's like, no, you're not. That's actually really stupid. So the end of the day comes, and we decide to still walk home from school. And we weren't actually on roads. We took back roads. We took through the woods, cut through people's backyards. Like, if something happened to us, we probably would have gotten really hurt, and no one would have known about it. So I got pumped because we get back to Brooke's house, and we beat the bus. Like,
impressive. Yes.
I don't know how, but we beat the bus. And we were stoked. So stoked that I called my dad and said,
oh, boy.
Yeah. Hey, we've made it home, but guess what we did? We walked home. I got myself in trouble. Literally got myself in trouble.
Pride comes before the fall.
Pride got me.
I had to brag about it.
I did. I was stoked. So he worked probably like 10 minutes from Brooke's house, and he comes in, he has a convertible, came in top down, sunglasses on, and I'm about to poop my pants. I'm like, oh no, I'm going to get in so much trouble. Well, he just tells me to get in his car. And his favorite punishment was no electronics, which meant no radio, no TV, no cell phone, anything that plugged into the wall I couldn't use, besides your hairdryer.
Yeah. No toasted bread for you.
Absolutely. So he had to do that for me at that moment. But that grounding lasted probably about a month long for that one.
Man.
Yeah.
I got grounded one time because my mom dropped us off at the movie theater, but we were late. Uh-huh. And to this day, I don't understand this. We went to we were like 15 minutes late to the movie. Started at 7. We were there at 7:15. We're like, we want tickets to the 7 o'clock of whatever, the Pokemon movie or whatever it was. They're like, sorry, it's already started. The theater's not full, and you're not losing money by letting me. And the guy refused.
Oh
He was like, I can't sell you tickets to that. And nothing else. The other things that were playing were rated R, and we were 11, 12.
Can't get into there.
You can't get in. And so we were like, well, Mom, I don't have a phone. What am I going to do for the next 2 hours? Let's cross the 5-lane highway to go to the mall. And we did it. I was fine, but my lesser intelligent friend decided to stop in the turning lane in the middle and was like stranded in the middle of the road for
they
a good
freaked
5
out
or
a
10
little
minutes.
bit.
Yeah, he just had a panic.
Oh, no.
I had to run back and get him and run back. And my mom flipped her lid whenever she found out about that. She's like, grounded, 2 weeks.
When did
no
she find
questions
out?
asked. Oh, whenever, I think one of our friends did have a phone. And I think maybe eventually I called and was like, hey, don't pick us up at the movie theater, pick us up at the mall. Just like you. Gave myself away. Should have just snuck back across the road. She would have
What's
never
wrong
known.
with us?
I don't know. If you could go back to 7th grade you
Man.
and give yourself some advice, maybe on this situation, but just in general, if you could go back to yourself in middle school, what do you wish you could tell yourself? What do you wish somebody had told you when you were in middle school?
Yeah, so to put it in perspective, middle school me, I never reached 5 foot until high school. So I was under 5 foot. I was tiny. My nickname in middle school was Taz because I had so much energy. Like I ran, like open lunch, I ran the entire time.
Just sprints all around the playground?
Yes, just running up and down. The security guard gave me the nickname Taz, and that stuck. Like I was Taz. So I think one of them would be, it's okay to own. Like I was probably the ADHD like poster child, but it wasn't a huge thing.
Wasn't as widely talked about, I guess, at the time?
It was not. So I had to learn to cope with it on my own. And I think I would just kind of tell myself in those moments, like, it's okay to have that much energy. But at the same time, people, like, control yourself. Like, control your body in these moments. Because you don't have to be all over the place
Right. Just
all
dial
the
it
time.
back sometimes.
Yes. So, learned that kind of 6th grade. 7th grade became the year where I wanted to be really popular. Like, I wanted to fit in kind of with everybody, but I still kept my elementary school friends, but, kind of venturing to start meeting new friends. And, like, popularity started, like, that switch of, like, oh, I'm not in that group.
Yeah, everything's cool in a crowd.
Absolutely. So it's like, how could I get in that group? And then 8th grade, I was, like, on the verge of the group, but not super into it. But I would leave my friends that I met in elementary school just so I could hang out with those friends and kind of like ditch them because I was like, these kids are cool. Whoever defines what cool is, but these kids are really cool. So I would just hang out with like my friends who were on the verge of that popularity group, and I wouldn't hang out with my elementary school friends. Which I'm like, those friends have seen me my whole life and don't judge me and know who I am and don't care how I behave or what I wear. But obviously, I had to get in with the people who do judge me and do care what I have to wear.
Constantly try to impress.
Yes, and that was exhausting. Like those are 2 big things I would tell middle school me is like, you're not as cool as you thought you were. At all.
Or just stop trying to be.
Yes, like just be yourself.
Like the cool kids are the ones who aren't trying to be cool.
Absolutely. I'm just thankful like social media wasn't a thing when I was in middle school because I think it would have just amplified that whole thing. So luckily, but always had to have the name brand clothes. My mom refused to buy them for me, so I had to spend my own money to buy those name brand clothes.
Mom, no one's going to like me unless I have the $60 shirt.
But for real.
And the pants.
But for real.
That are also $100.
I spent like $90 on an outfit and thought I was the coolest thing in the world.
Ooh.
And you can only wear an outfit like once every 2 weeks. Like you can't wear it every day.
Yeah. It gets expensive quick.
It does.
For sure.
It does.
I didn't do that as much, but I remember a regular occurrence.
Yeah.
All of my siblings paying $100 for a pair of jeans without question. I was like, guys, you could buy so many video games with that.
Absolutely, because the stitching on the butt of the jeans say where they're from.
Right.
So people are going to know.
Yeah.
It was a huge deal.
Yeah. Wasn't a huge deal to me, but I think I had maybe lower self-esteem. It was like, I don't even have a chance of getting in with that crowd. So I'm just going to be spending money to not fit in.
Or like you were just more confident. You're like, I'm okay where I am. Maybe not.
I like to think that, but I don't think that's what it was. Well, what about high school as you kind of grew into it? If you could go back and give your high school self some advice, what would that have looked like?
So I think my middle school self got humbled in high school because you kind of realize like you're not as cool as you think you are.
9th grade is a tough year.
It's a tough year. You realize that like you're a very little fish in a very big pond.
Yep.
My high school, I went to South Meck High School, so it's like a college campus almost where everything's separated. It's not one building. It's many different things, and I got lost like on the first day.
How big was your graduating class?
480. was in our graduate, but it was like right before Audrey Kell opened, so we had like 900 or so, like something huge, like ridiculously huge in our graduating class. We had like 3 lunches. It was absolutely ridiculous. So then I really got lost freshman year because there is a ton of people on that campus. And I had to like humble myself and ask the principal to help me get to my class because I had no idea.
And he was happy to help, but
very happy.
It just didn't feel good.
No, because like in middle school, I was on the soccer team, you know, like captain of the soccer team. I was in it.
Yeah.
8th grade, I peaked. It's my prime was 8th grade. I tell people that a lot. And 9th grade was humbling.
Well, it just turns into like, just don't draw attention to yourself. You go from wanting everybody's attention, just like, don't pay attention to me.
Absolutely.
Don't like, if you miss a class, you just like, or if you can't find the classroom, you just keep walking.
Yeah.
Pretend you know where you're going.
Pretend you know where you're going. And the hard part is, remember like I told you how I kind of like ditched my elementary school friends? Well, like all the new cool friends I met didn't go to my high school. So then it's like, oh, crap, like who am I going to hang out with now? So it's like remending relationships. It's figuring out, do I really want to be friends with them, or figuring out who I do want to be friends with.
Yeah.
So that was kind of tricky because in 8th grade, I thought I was really, really cool.
Well, you probably were.
I was for the time being. But then you get to 9th grade and, you know, there's other kids who are having seniors drive them to school and they're freshmen. And they're really cool.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have to ride the bus. And, you know, like, I'm riding the bus to school or just stuff like that. Another one is I would get grounded again, I was that grounded kid. Like, my dad liked to, like, give out groundings all the time. But my car would be taken away.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah. My car would be taken away. And to a point where the punishment was not just like you have to ride the bus. The punishment was I had to be dropped off in my car through the carpool line at the front of the school, and then ride the bus home. So it was rough when I got punished, but I was getting punished because of like my sassiness, not because I was truly like doing anything. So
just couldn't keep the mouth shut.
I couldn't close my mouth. And you know, my mom's favorite thing to say to me still is you don't always have to have the last word. And, you know, my pride.
That's good advice.
It is. It's good advice. But I want to, you know, just make sure I'm understood. That's what it is.
I have jokingly said this before. Like, if you don't agree with me, it's because I haven't explained my point well enough.
Absolutely.
Let me keep talking.
Let me keep talking. Right.
If you can get comfortable with not needing to be right, life is just so much smoother.
You're winning.
Significantly fewer groundings, probably.
Gosh. So grounded.
What about at the very end of high school? Are you leaving high school and going to college? If you can tell yourself one thing.
I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. I think I would tell myself that it's okay not to go to a 4-year school right away. I was not ready to go to a 4-year school, but I felt pressured like by family and friends. Like all my friends are going to like 4-year, they're going to Auburn or they're going to Carolina, Clemson. Like they're going to like big schools.
Yeah.
And I honestly could have cared less to like apply or send applications or do anything, but I did it because I thought I had to. So then I would tell, that's exactly what I told myself is it's okay to wait. It's okay to go to CP. It's okay to go to York Tech.
Did you go straight to?
I went straight to UNC Charlotte.
Okay.
So it's close. I also probably would have told myself I don't have to go that close because I came home a lot just because I was scared. Like I was lonely. I was 17 going into college, so I couldn't go out and do stuff with people who are already 18. Yeah. I had to sit in my dorm room by myself until I turned 18. So it was hard.
It's tough.
Yeah, and freshman year of college is just a tough transition year.
Well, I think on a similar note, I would just say like if you're graduating and you don't have your entire life and what you want to do figured out,
it's okay.
It is okay.
Gosh. Yes.
Spoiler alert: most people don't.
Yeah, I changed my major my first 2 weeks of school.
Yeah, there you go. That's always an option. I mean, I always, and this, I might be wrong in thinking this, but whenever I would be hanging out with people in high school and they would be like, oh, I'm majoring in business. And majoring in business meant I have no idea what I want to do with my life, but I have to pick a major. And it might not mean that now, but where I went to school, I'd be hanging out with, you know, guys who were super into sports or super into whatever. Like, why are you majoring in that? Like that, you've never you're bored in most of the classes that
Right.
are about business. And it was just like, I have to go
Mm-hmm.
and I have to have a major to go. So I got to pick something.
Right. Which is the perk now is that a lot of students can go in undecided, which is so nice.
Yep.
So I think that's just such a huge perk now is like be undecided and that's okay. Like, again, that's okay.
Yeah. Or like you said, it is okay to take CP or whatever your local community
Yes.
college is for a couple years.
Or even take a gap year
Yep.
and kind of figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Because you can still, I think a lot of people are hesitant about the gap year
Mm-hmm.
because it feels like you're wasting your
Absolutely.
time. And it doesn't have to be a waste of time.
Absolutely.
You can still capitalize on that year. You can figure out exactly what it is you
Mm-hmm.
want to do. That would be the other side is like, if you take a gap year, don't just sleep for a year.
Absolutely. Do something.
Do something. Go, volunteer somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Go get an apprenticeship or an internship somewhere, and
Absolutely.
just try stuff.
And ask people questions.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's another thing. I feel like in high school or college or even now, we feel like our parents or people who are older than us don't understand. Like, you don't understand where I'm at. And honestly, like, I've been 16 before. You've been 16. And,
Yep.
like, we've been almost going to college, or even our parents have almost been going to college. Like, ask those questions and get advice from people, maybe other than your parents. Like, get advice from someone in your life that you look up
Yeah.
to know what direction your life should go into.
Especially if you do know what you want to do.
Absolutely.
You find somebody who does that and just be like, how do I do what you do?
Right.
And they'll usually be glad to tell you.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been good.
It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks for coming and sitting
Absolutely.
down at the table. I hope you
Absolutely.
come back in the near future. For those of you watching and listening, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next week backstage.